and they should be able to hear me now.
All right.
Now it should be able to hear me. I am
Give us a
so
thumbs up.
sorry about that. Today has been the tech nightmare day, but that's okay. We all have it, it all works. Um, we were just saying, or I was just saying, thank you all for submitting your awesome stories to us. We felt so honored to read them all. We got so many entries, and it was incredibly difficult and competitive to pick our top winners this year or this time. And I mentioned there were some behind the scenes discussions. We had a lot of, no, this one, no, that one. So just know it was incredibly competitive, and we were wowed by the quality of all the stories we got this time.
Yeah. And we did something differently this time where we actually ran two contests. And that was because we couldn't decide what kind of a contest we wanted to run. You guys seeing a theme here? And so we ended up running a fantasy and a superhero contest. And those of you that submitted, or those of you who have submitted with us, know that we keep our prompts fairly vague. That is because I'm not a big prompt person, and I personally find them limiting. So then when I'm helping to run contests, I'm like, no, we're gonna keep it real vague, you guys.
But it was so interesting because there were so many different interpretations of fantasy and superhero. We got so many different angles looking at things. I, I couldn't believe the way different people took the prompt. And that's magical. I love that. I love how, how do people interpret things?
Exactly, exactly. So do we want to start getting to our
Let's
winners?
get to it. Let's do it.
All right.
Okay. So we are going to start with our superhero second place story. That sound right to you?
It is, but I think we were going to
Oh, we
announce.
were going to announce.
Yep.
What are we
So
announcing?
we wanted to give our third prize people just kudos. We're not going to be reading your stories on air. We just don't have enough time to do that. Yes, my cat is here. This is Winchester's tail. He decided to pop over. We're not going to be reading those on air, but we did want to give you a shout out because some of these were really, really tight. And actually, for our superhero one, we ended up, after a great deal of discussion, having a tie for third place. Um, so we want to give kudos to, let me make sure we're in the pen name, to Kay Hannafin for returning the favor. So congratulations for your third place. And then tied for third place as well is Donna Keeley's A Life Worth Living. So just wanted to say these were awesome stories. We really, really enjoyed them, and it was a very tight battle. So I wanted to give you guys shout outs.
I really liked both of those stories, but I also really like this second place winner. So I'm going to go ahead and I get the privilege of reading this one. So I'm going to scroll down so you'll see who it is. But this is called Faster by Jason Ellis. Every day, I see her in passing. I see everything in passing, though. A life spent in passing. Once, when I was 7, my mother just died. I was sad and angry, and I ran from my father. By the time I stopped, I had no idea where I was. That was the beginning. I got I got better, faster, gained control. When I was in high school, people called me a ghost because I had a knack of disappearing at just the right time to avoid a beating. Again and again, I ran. I am good at running. As I run, I imagine other heroes, my brothers and sisters in power. I never met another, but I know the comics and movies we know them from. Some I imagine at night on a rooftop, becowled, holding their villain in silhouette as lightning strikes behind. Others I see in sunny immortals, caped and loftily monitoring the world from some fortress alone. I envy them. No one knows me. No one ever will. Because I no longer run from anymore. I run toward. Consider my city, this utopia. From one border to its opposite, I cover the distance on a timescale measured by that of quarks popping into and out of existence again. At this speed, I am everywhere at the same moment, omnipresent. Between each of these words, I eat, drink, stop an accident from occurring, break up bar brawls, prevent a murder, and so on and on and on. I run an endless loop, repeating through every room of every building on every street, endlessly looping. No one sees me, feels me. I am pure speed, a true ghost. And my city? Perfection. Not even gum carelessly discarded touches the ground before it is disposed of. Nothing happens here without my permission, and everyone here is safe. They need me, and I want their need. Even as a child, I knew the truth. There's a pattern, and if I can see it, then I can maintain it perfectly. If I just keep running faster. Every outlier, mistake, anomaly stop from its inception. Before its inception, in my city, I see everyone all at once as if the eyes of God are watching. I am the Holy Ghost here. I stopped once, long ago now. I stopped and relaxed and took a girl on a date. The perfect girl. Meanwhile, 3 people died. I know their faces, their names etched onto my soul. I could have saved them all. Disassembled the gun before it was fired, stopped a driver from losing control. Taken my father to the hospital before his heart stopped. But I did not. Instead, I ate pizza with a girl in whose eyes I got lost, and people died. So now I run, and my city stays safe. The woman she became stays safe. Forever I see her in the infinite space between all the moments we call time, but only in passing. And that is our second place winner.
That one's awesome. It's sad, but it's awesome.
I thank you, Jason Ellis, for writing this piece, for trusting us, and for submitting. I really love reading pieces like this. They're fun, grammatically and syntax wise. They're fun to read out loud. So thank you for letting me do that, and congratulations!
Yay! Don't know if you're watching or not, but you'll be getting an email with your prize. So I'll be sending that out later. So congratulations.
All right. Should we move to first place for superhero?
I think so. I think so. Let me make sure I've got the right one.
Got the right
Okay,
one?
superhero. Yep. Okay, so our first prize is Being Super by Shanti Leonard. So congratulations. And let me go ahead and pull that one up on my screen, not your screen.
You guys can all see it now, but Teresa will read it for you if you're just listening. Or if the text is too small, that might be my bad. We're going to fix this.
I just had to blow up the text because I'm getting old. But let's go ahead and get to the story. Okay, so Being Super. The amazing man had just saved 32 kids on a bus in California, 109 people from an explosion in Texas, one old woman crossing the street on a red light in Virginia, and a Girl Scout troop that was lost in a forest in Montana, all in an hour and 5 minutes. In the last 397 hours, he had saved 44,067 lives. Now he was hanging in the sky above a town in Michigan, watching, feeling, radiating into the world below to find somebody to save next. He had to choose correctly. Who was the most deserving? Which save would have the most positive impact on humankind? These questions were useless. All people had the right to live. You just feel for the right one, save, and move to another place that needs you, even though everywhere needed you. There was domestic abuse below. He flew in a blur of reds and yellows and blues down to the house, phasing through the door, coming up behind a mother who was bringing a vase down on a young child. He stayed her hand, neutralized the vase, and sent a sonic charge through her with his chest, knocking her out, picking up the child, and then there was the police station and all the paperwork. It would cost him time, which would cost him more lives. Couldn't they just take him at his word now? Couldn't they just? Can I get you some water? You look kind of gray, said a woman at a desk. Thank you. No, it would only take time. With that, he was away again and into the air, away from the paperwork. So what if he was gaunter than normal with a tinge of gray to his skin? So what if his eyes were red and blurry? So what if tears leaked from him above every country he flew over? So what if he heard whispers? And so what if he wasn't quite as strong as before? He was still thousands of times stronger than any man on earth. It would be enough. Because if he was the only one with these powers, and he had the ability to save anyone, anywhere from physical danger, how could he not do it all the time? How could he play a video game or watch a movie? How could he eat a sandwich? How could he sleep if he knew he could be saving somebody? How could he be a good person and still make the choice to go to a concert, read a book, sit down, when it meant people would die? Somewhere, somebody always needed his help. He just had to get there in time. Every second mattered. Trees whipped by him. He was too low. Where was this? Nothing looked familiar. Not even the ground as he crashed into it as hard as anything else he ever had before. This was going to cost him more time. So congratulations, Shanti.
That's a lovely story. I do want to say, if you're reading it on screen with us, the little errors you see, those are copy and paste errors. Those are not from the author. Those are me copying and pasting errors. So please do not judge the author. You can judge me. The author stuff was perfect. It's me, and you'll see it in multiple ones as I copy and paste it. I love these, and it was very interesting. Erin brings up a really great point. These two did happen to have kind of similar themes, and then they took it in different directions, and they had different tones to them and that kind of thing. And it was just pure by happenstance that that happened. You'll see with our fantasy stories, their fantasy stories are wildly different.
They really are. But I loved this concept of the price superheroes pay to be a superhero. And it's not one, it does get explored a lot in superhero, but in the superhero kind of genre. But I thought these two stories really cemented it home. The choice you have to make. So he made a choice in the first story, made a choice to go out with a girl, and people died. And in the first place prize, the superhero literally is killing himself to save people.
Yeah. I think it's also a very, one of our tied for third place ones, Donna Keeley, I see you in the chat. I wanted to give you hi. It's great to see you. We loved your piece as well. And it also kind of explored some of these ideas of what do you give, as a superhero. And Donna took it in a completely third direction. So like Teresa said, we just don't have time to read all of our submissions, even the great ones. But yeah, I'm just thinking about, she took it in an even different direction that was fun and really great to read too.
Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate the submissions. And you guys ready to move on to the fantasy one?
Let's do fantasy.
Let's do fantasy. Let's do fantasy.
Am I reading the second place, or is it me?
Sure. Yeah. I'll read the second. I'll tell you what, you do the third place. Excuse us while we debate here.
Oh, okay.
You announce the third place.
I'll
read the second place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will announce the third place winner. The fantasy third place winner was, I remember this one, was Archibald Execution by L.H. Michael.
That one was awesome. So, and this was another one. It was very, very close.
Yes.
So, yeah, we wanted to give you a shout out because it was really a great piece.
And in all of our top top ones. Like, we hope, whatever happens to this story next, let us know, because we think these are great stories, and we love them, and hope they get out into the world. All right.
Donna actually asked an interesting question. And I don't, the way that I sorted it, I don't have the exact numbers for you. But Donna, we were about even, about the same number of superhero and fantasy, and we were around 100 submissions for both. So 50-ish for both, which was a lot to read through.
I'm glad we did 500 words.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, ready? Second
Let's do
place
it.
winner, all you.
Oh, it's all me. Second place winner, the title is The Lonely Hollow by Christopher J. Burke. Lost somewhere near the west end of Little Black Wood was a lonely hollow that cried out to travelers and settlers. Human, elf, critter, or fey, the hollow summoned all to its tranquil serenity. No wayward soul that felt an emptiness within itself could resist the urge to heed the call. Errant spirits attuned to nature and beings touched by magic found their way with the least hardship. Others muddled through the soft earth, cutting their own trails. What wonders the hollow held, none could imagine. But that strong yearning for completeness pushed them to overcome any obstacle. One autumn night, a gibbous moon rose, illuminating a man and an elven woman. Rognak the soldier had deserted his unit and traveled twice again as far from home. His path impeded by burrows and gullies beneath the thick underbrush. Lamanna, the gatherer, was collecting berries and roots when her spirit was quickened. Her task abandoned, she sped off along the sylvan road that joins all the elven forests as one. The pair instantly froze in place, regarding one another under sparkling stars. From opposite sides of the clearing, the two wayfarers had arrived at the lonely hollow in the same moment. Was she drawn here for the same reason? Rognak thought. Is he the reason I was summoned? Lamanna pondered. Was this fated to be? They both asked themselves. Neither sensed anything in common they might share with the stranger. Yet they felt the other one's yearning. They craved some intangible, hidden thing. With slow, deliberate steps, the pair narrowed the gap separating them. Their hearts ached from voids erupting within their souls. Rognak, suspicious by nature, allowed his guard to drop. Lamanna, wary of all humans, felt no apprehension approaching this one. The hollow had brought them together, leaving the elf and human to divine its mystical intentions and motivations. The pair stopped at the banks of the narrow stream. Neither had ever experienced such a longing before. They reached out, seeking to fill their emptiness. Sparks erupted from their fingertips. In the middle of the stream, the two embraced in a moment of emotional magic. When Rognak stepped back, he felt like he'd never had before. The void had been filled, but his satiation would be short-lived. It is a basic law of nature that one container cannot be filled without draining another. Lamanna stood empty. Darkness consumed her. Never in her centuries had she experienced such a death of spirit, such a soulless hunger. With one quick blow, the elf struck down the human in the center of the hollow, beneath the moon and the stars. Then for one shining moment, Lamanna felt the fullness of being. When the euphoria faded, Lamanna realized where she was, what she'd done. Horrified, she attempted to flee. She wanted to gather up solace from the arms of another. Any other, elf, human, man, woman, mattered not. But the hollow was lonely too, and it wouldn't let her go. So that is The Hollow by Christopher J. Burke.
Congratulations. So, and again, I see we've got more people who joined us. Again, if Christopher, that's you, I'm going to go ahead and send you an email later with your prize. So, congratulations. So, we ready for the first place? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, we're going to do a dramatic genre change here.
Well, technically still fantasy, but the tonal shift is very different.
So, our first prize winner for the fantasy section is Hannah. I hope I say this name right. Hannah Burrs. Sorry. With Hoppy Ending.
I'm gonna make this bigger, guys. Here we go.
Oh, thank goodness. I just made it bigger for me too. Look, I would like to hire you, but I can't. It's just not sanitary, the innkeeper said, a note of desperation entering his voice. You're just so gooey. He watched as a large blob of something thick rolled down the job applicant's neck, landing on the floor with a thick splat. It sat there, jiggling in a rather jelly-like manner every time one of the patrons stood up or took a step. The bog barbarian just stared down at him with his large and unblinking eyes. His mouth opened, revealing a long pink tongue. It's not goo, he rumbled in a sonorous voice. It is my natural secretions. And I love you for that, but we serve food in this establishment. We can't have you dripping food all over the place as you go delivering them. The innkeeper eyed the heavy axe engraved with dragonflies and cattails that hung from the damp leather belt that circled the frogman's waist. And as a dishwasher, I'm not sure you would ever be able to get the plates truly clean. I need a job, the bog barbarian said with a croak, and this is an amphibian-friendly town. There aren't a lot of those left in this far inland. There must be something. I'm sorry, the innkeeper said, but The door burst open, slamming against the wall and splintering. A young man ran in, his hair slicked to his forehead with sweat. His clothes were singed and one eyebrow smoked. The dining area fell silent as everyone stared at him. What's all this about? A gruff voice asked from the back of the room. Fireflies, the boy gasped out. There's been a fresh hatch of fireflies. There was a loud scraping as every chair in the establishment pushed back from the tables at once. A cacophony of shouts, swears, and panicked cries filled the air as customers ran out en masse, leaving their half-eaten meals abandoned on the long wooden tables. Where are they going? The bog barbarian riveted. The innkeeper stood in the ruins of the lunch rush, massaging his temples. Firefly hatch happens sometimes. They've all gone to douse their homes, soak their belongings in water, and get out the fly swatters. I'm going to do the same. I can't have half the tavern burning down again. He turned to head back into the kitchen. The bog barbarian paused, a thoughtful look on his face. These fireflies, he rumbled. Are they tasty? The innkeeper paused mid-step, turning around sharply. Would you eat them? He asked shrewdly. The bog barbarian shrugged. I eat most bugs. Then we have a deal, the innkeeper said. You hang around outside and make sure not a single firefly lands on my inn. On top of all the spicy sky raisins you could eat, I'll pay you quite handsomely for your protection. He extended a hand toward him. The bog barbarian's wide mouth opened in an even wider grin. Sir, you have a deal. I don't know what happened.
I liked the voices. I like the riveting.
Well, anyways, so our good friend Chris Banner has a much more extensive theater background than I do. But I've got a little bit of a theater background, and apparently it just decided to just come out for that one.
It was fantastic.
Thank you.
Again, thank you to Hannah. Again, Hannah Burrs, we're sorry if we're pronouncing your name incorrectly, for your wonderful story, Hoppy Ending. I have to admit, I've played a lot of D&D in my time, and this just reminds me of like a campaign gone astray. It was lovely. It made us all smile. It was just fun, and sometimes you need fun in your life.
Yeah. This one was really, and it was really fun to read too. So thank you so much for that. We are going to keep running contests. We really do enjoy running contests. So please like and subscribe so you get announced of them. Join our newsletter. You can do that at www.semisagesofthepages.com, or you can always join our Discord as well. We do lots of announcements over there. I do want to add, if you are either you submitted or you're thinking about submitting, when you do flash fiction, just quick advice. The best advice I have for you, make sure your story has a beginning and an end. A lot of the stories that we saw had wonderful beginnings, and then you could tell that the author was like, oh no, I'm out of room. And they just kind of ended the story without really ending it. For those of you in California who have been to California Adventures, it's like the Little Mermaid ride. That giant lead up and then a wedding. People understand. I'm sure people understand what I'm talking about.
What you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I think flash fiction is a very difficult. 500 words is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
And you could really tell maybe the people who had practiced or done it before and knew some of the tricks. It's hard. It is not an easy word count to hit. So I commend everyone, and I especially commend our winners because they really filled our lives with excitement to read these. It was such a blessing.
Yeah, congratulations. And once again, your prizes will be emailed to you and we'll be in touch. And then we'll send out, we'll also send out an email to everybody who submitted, also letting them know who the winners were. So congratulations, everybody.
Thank you for listening and have a lovely afternoon.
Yep.
Bye.
Take care.